learned about this hydrogen peroxide spray to treat fungal and powdery mildew infections on plants from Gary at the Rusted Garden. He has a really great YouTube channel with lots of good information on it. And then again, it was mentioned by Jess from Roots and Refuge, and I got her email from her newsletter that she sends out, and she recommended doing this. So it kind of came at the perfect time because the video I watched from Gary was about peppers and I was worried about my tomatoes, and her information was about tomatoes, so I was like, okay, it can work for the same thing. I did a test spray, which admittedly was like most of my garden because I was gonna have to pull the plants out anyway if they didn't get better, and they're doing really well. It's been 2 days, and Gary recommends in the last video that I watched to do this 3 days in a row, but they are looking really good. So the formulation that I used was a gallon of water and 3% hydrogen peroxide, and it's 8 tablespoons per gallon, which is half a cup. So I'm going to mix up another batch. Okay, so I'm going to pour that in. Just give it a little shake to mix it up, and then that'll be ready to go. I just set this whole thing in the bucket with the sprayer down after I use it because it leaks a little bit after you use it, and I don't want the hydrogen peroxide spray just like leaking around in the house, so I put it in the bucket. So these are the tomatoes that were really sick, and I will insert some footage from my garden tour. And these tomatoes just aren't doing great here. They're growing and doing well, but we've got this black stuff coming on the leaves. I'm not sure what that is. I'm gonna take this one out and that one out because they kind of started this whole mess. And on the other side, that tomato's starting to turn brown too. And they're looking a lot better. According to Gary, these little yellow circles indicate an active infection on the plant, and they have been shrinking since I've been doing this. They were a lot bigger. And so this was one of my sicker plants, and it's looking a lot better. It still does show some of the brown on the leaves, and I may come out and prune some of those off, but overall it's looking a lot better. And you can see it's even affecting the flowers, like the clusters of flowers, and even on the stems a little bit. But overall it's looking much better, so I'm very happy with this because I was afraid I was gonna have to tear all these plants out. And here you can see on the peppers, it's the same kind of thing. So I didn't do all the peppers on my first spray. I only did these ones here in the back because they were the worst off. And they are doing a little bit better, but you can see their leaves are just falling off from where they were sick. So I'll have to get those picked up. This is the tomato that I think had the powdery mildew on it. You can see a little bit here. It was super fluffy. It looked like cotton candy or something on the plant. And this one had it a little bit too, but I don't see any on it. So overall, I'm super happy with how that's going, and I'm going to continue to use that. Wish I would have done it sooner, but like with the pressure canning, I don't know why sometimes new things just seem so intimidating and scary to try, but it got to the point where I was like, I'm going to lose my plants if I don't do something, and I wish I would have done it much earlier. I will show you how I spray this since I'm running out of light right now. And I have a little bit of time while I'm waiting on my canner. So I will pump it up. And then you just want to spray the whole entire plant. You want to make sure you get the tops and the bottoms of the leaves. And you do not want to do this in the heat of the day when the sun is beating down. You want to do it in the morning or in the evening. Otherwise you're going to cook your plants. They're going to get sunburned. You want to do the flower clusters and all the parts of the stem too, all the way down. And I do have some overspray on the other plants because my stuff is planted so close together in a square foot garden method. I need to come out here and prune up some of this because they don't need all of these leaves to produce and do well. But we need to get some more airflow in here to help with this issue in the first place with fungus and disease. Which I have done some of that, but they are just like going crazy right now. And growth. We've been getting some rain and it hasn't been quite so stinking hot and they've been a lot happier. So that's pretty much it. I'll go around and do the back of this plant later where I can reach it better. Even though I have the overspray on other plants, nothing else has been harmed by doing this. Not the beans, the squash. You could also do this on squash. So Levi's taking over the spray job for me real quick. I wanted to show you these tomatoes. These are the only two that aren't looking significantly better since doing the hydrogen peroxide spray. The tops are looking great. Like the very top of them looks good. But the rest of them isn't looking very good. Now it's my understanding that if the leaves are curling up like this, it's due to the heat. So I don't know. I may keep an eye on these, but if they don't start looking better, I may end up pulling them if they continue to get worse because I don't want the rest of my garden to be affected.
Did you already spray these?
No, I didn't spray those yet.